Thanks for watching. I'm excited to introduce to you an empowering new series of non-traditional educational videos. This 103 course is a short overview going over the aspects of knowledge and hustle. As we start to release weekly courses on our channel, we will build off each successive course. So, make sure to start in order. This course will teach you what type of knowledge you will need in professional hustle. We're going to take some time this week to discuss the types of knowledge. What are the best forms of your hustles? And, most importantly, how to apply it in each hustle. Ready? Let's begin. If this is your third course, you know, as always, I'm big on definitions. So, knowledge. As we see, it means understanding of or information about a subject that you get by experience or study, either known by one person or by person or people in general. Now, guys, this is important. Knowledge is something that you're going to need to apply. It's the fundamental building block of why people choose you to hustle for them or to get into deals. You have to be that authoritative source. And it's going to be a very, very, very strong requirement if you want to stay in a deal to have mastery of knowledge. So pay attention to the definition. You pay for what you don't know. The golden rule for the number one expense in hustling is lack of knowledge. Without this key component, you will pay the price to learn. These costs come in the form of the following: lost opportunity. You're going to miss a deal. That's just the bottom line. You're not going to be able to recognize what it is. 2, excessive expenses. If you don't have a good, firm understanding on why things cost the way they do, you're just going to pay more. 3, legal fees. This is a big one, guys. If you don't take the time to learn exactly what it is that your industry or your specific hustle is about, you're going to end up paying attorney fees through lawsuits, which brings me into judgments, because you will lose a lawsuit. I've lost plenty of them. Trust me, they're not fun. You're going to pay excessive taxes. You have to understand the dynamics of your deal. How will earning income affect you? If you're going to receive stock, are you going to get taxed on that? What's your basis? Things like that. Also, your inability to conceptualize and apply your knowledge properly is going to sometimes make your clients not have to pay you. There's nothing worse than working on a deal, getting to the end, and realizing you didn't have the proper licensing to get paid. So they take the stance, I'm not paying you. You're also going to end up paying for unnecessary expenses because you won't be able to judge what you should or should not pay. You're going to take on unnecessary partners, which in turn allows you to what? Pay more profits. That's something you guys want to go. And unfortunately, the final one is getting removed from a deal. If you can't substantiate why you're there, it's going to be tough, especially if you lack the knowledge to explain how to get a deal closed or get it to a finish line. The main goals. We live in a world of misinformation, disinformation, and now the new type, malinformation. Misinformation is a false or inaccurate information, especially that which is deliberately intended to deceive. Disinformation is false information, which is intended to mislead, but typically it shows up in propaganda. Usually you're going to get that through government organizations or like media, for instance. Malinformation is the new one. This is factual information that's removed from its original contents in order to mislead, harm, or manipulate. Guys, if we're going to hustle, we have to use critical thinking skills. This means our information has to be sourced from reputable sources that we can rely on to guide our behaviors and actions. That's why we'll go over peer-reviewed papers, case studies, how-to books, and of course, I know everyone's discouraged from it, but formal education, because it's really important, but not for the reasons that you think. We're going to spend a little time on peer-reviewed research papers. And the reason why is because they're excellent sources of information. They display results for criticism. This means people presenting information are open for assessment, disapproval, and citations. Your strongest source should be tested by contemporaries for accuracy, period. As a hustler, your responsibility is largely delegated to decision makings. You are in charge of deciding tasks and allocating time. In order to make the best decision, you need to have accurate information. It's possible to make a good decision based on bad information, but this is how people end up being misled or defrauded. This is something that you need to make sure that you avoid at all costs. And that's why we're going to highlight the fact that it's third-party tested. That means that peer-reviewed papers are critically reviewed by peers to ensure accurate information. The results are tested. Peer-reviewed papers have standards and must test against these standards. Guys, that's important. And that's why we're looking for those type of sources of information. Case studies are a little fun. Now, you're going to get these things largely through personal experience, and that's just going to be referencing what you lived through. Those, unfortunately, come through at high financial cost. The second one is large corporate case studies. You're going to see this a lot of times where individuals will do research on companies, like, for instance, Nike, and they'll cite how their deal went down. This is great for formal instruction, and it gives you a good vantage point from what happened in the past. Very difficult necessarily to say that that's what will happen in the future, and often these conditions are indicative of large companies. We're hustling, guys. It's important to know what large companies do because you may find yourself interacting with them. But remember, we're not launching companies here. We're hustling as professional entrepreneurs that are known to put deals together. Now that brings me into citing fellow entrepreneurs. They give you unique perspectives, and you want to go with people who have businesses that are operating, that are actually working. People that you know that have been in business for, I would say, at least 4 years. 1 to 2 years is not enough. 3 years is generally when people wash out. If you can see someone consistently doing something for 4 years or more, there's a high chance they figured something out. They'll be a good reference. The final is formal data, and you'll see this compiled through SBA governmental studies. They tend to be dry. They are quantifiably accurate from a data perspective, but they're usually focused more on theory than anything. They'll be good for macro approaches, and those do incorporate when you're trying to assess whether or not you should do a deal, but you're usually using for that or striving to understand if in fact the macro will affect the micro, which is not always the case. How-to books. They're great general knowledge and they're good for concepts. They're going to be theory-based. This type of information is great for introducing you to a concept. For instance, my international bestseller is going to expose you to the concept of hustling. It's going to give you general knowledge and cite specific circumstances which I applied for that particular moment. The success to each hustle is unique to its set of conditions. That's why the context of hustle really is a slang term for project. I am a master project manager by trade, and projects are unique, non-repetitive tasks which have definitive starts and ends. They never repeat, so projects don't repeat. Similar to that, if you translate that, hustles don't repeat. That's why you see me referencing opening up multiple businesses that open and close. It's not that the business fails. It's a special purpose entity that's created to satisfy a unique condition at that exact moment given the market condition. The market's changed, and therefore the business changes as well. I'm sure you all saw this one coming. Formal education. Basically, the format is formal instruction. It's necessary and it's needed for licensing. Now, this type of information is required because industries such as insurance, finance, and regulatory bodies need agreed upon standards to hold people accountable. If you lack formal education, you open yourself up to potential fraud. And what I mean by fraud is I mean fraudulent claim against your actions. This is to be avoided at all costs. This is why licensing is crucial. This marks the distinct difference between, quote, street hustle and, quote, professional hustle. How we apply our knowledge. What makes most people forget information is their inability to apply what they learn to their everyday life. This is why everyone forgets algebra. I remember mathematical functions and can solve for them because I run financial models all day. If you offer me an f of x function, I will solve it immediately. This is because I need to know what money is worth in the future. I need to depreciate assets. Microsoft Excel is nothing but a giant f of x platform. I'm not suggesting it's a requirement for you to master functions, although it helps if you want to hustle, but you need to master your craft. Remember, hustling takes the form of many professions. I'm not advocating for any one in particular. Nearly all professions involve money, so it's not bad to learn about money. Whatever you choose to be licensed in, remember to be dynamic, confident, and instructional. Others will judge you based on results. The effort's always good enough for us personally, but others judge us in a different type of format. I like to segue with this all the time before we close out. The gross record. As you can see, this simple advice has taken me to over 12 million in gross revenue throughout the years. This is not about business, but a self-employed career, which answers unique problems with unique solutions. These revenues have costs, licensing, remember, we just went over that, and certification requirements. So keep that in mind. I'm excited if you made it to the end of this video. This overview is designed to expose you to the types of information required to accurately, professionally hustle. Get an ebook copy of my international best-selling book for free by clicking the link in the description. After you sign up, send an email after sign up and put this week's code in, which is 103, in your follow-up email asking for your free ebook for watching this week's video. Again, this week's code is 103. Each week the code changes, so stay tuned for the following video and educational course. No information in this course is designed to be a recommendation for investing, providing financial advice, or financial products. Please do not contact us for investment inquiries or any investment-related recommendations. This is a free educational tool to be used for informational and educational purposes only. See you next time, ladies and gents. Hustle hard.